everyone, my name is Leanna Weissman and this is my presentation for our Capstone Project. So my project is a curriculum redesign proposal, and I've entitled it A Class for the Modern Student, and my main goal for this class and for this project was to create a classroom of more up-to-date relevant information and incorporate skills that every student should have and go into the real world, knowing how to use these tools and kind of having them in their back pocket whenever they need. And so that is what I did with the 12th grade curriculum. So my inquiry question was, what would a standards inclusive social studies curriculum look like if it incorporated practical 21st century concepts that students could integrate into their lives beyond the classroom? And I started with 12th graders because, these students are applying to college, they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives. What better place than to give them a class that they can use and have this information fresh in their minds when they leave our classrooms. So it was important that they took these skills, and the 12th grade curriculum in New York State is civics and economics, and it's such a relevant subject for students because it is real life. We see talks and information about the government and the economy every single day. And so having knowledge and being able to be informed about these things and participate in those conversations is going to increase the student voice and motivate them to participate in the future. And so that's really my goal for this redesign, is for these students to have a voice and to know how to use that voice in any aspect of their lives. And so the main goals are to increase civic engagement and to build strong financial awareness and just better prepare students with this information. There's so many things that I wish I knew before I went to college, and a class like this definitely would have helped me, and I think it would be really beneficial for students in the future. And so how do we achieve these goals? Through all of these things, basically what I did is I took the New York State Social Studies framework standards, and I took the civics ones and the economic ones, and I combined them into one year-long curriculum that flowed from one subject to another instead of just civics and then just economics or vice versa. I created something that made a little bit more sense in the order that it was being taught. So the Common Core standards are present in each and every one of these lessons through these learning activities that are used. The Common Core and these 21st century skills are very similar, and they just want to make sure that students are prepared for what they're going to see, whether it's in college or the workforce or, a branch of the military. Whatever they choose to do, the answer isn't on a multiple choice test. It's not right in front of them, and they need to be able to think critically, to find solutions, and to make decisions and work together to find these answers. And of course, being the 21st century, there's technology involved with that. And I wouldn't even use a textbook in this classroom, because in this type of environment, you want the most modern, up-to-date, relevant information. And so you're going to come across things that in textbooks that need to be updated. And so why bother with a textbook when they can use the technology right in front of them to find the information that they need to know? And they're going to come across sensitive topics when you talk about, especially in civil rights and civil liberties and what we're seeing right outside of our doors right today. But involving students in that conversation in a controlled environment where they can understand and learn about bias will encourage more productive conversation when students engage with these conversations in the future and in their lives. And another part of that is in having knowledge of their community, talking to business leaders, local community leaders, politicians, understanding and physically seeing what their lives are like on the daily and seeing how politics plays a role in the local communities and what students can do in terms of volunteering or using their voice to participate in this and to make a difference and have an impact. And so what you'll see on the next couple of slides is the unit map that I've created that I put in my paper. So it has the timeline, mostly 6 weeks-ish, depending on holidays and midterms and all of those academic schedules. So you have some courses like Unit 1 that is going to combine government and economics. And then you have other ones that are just going to focus on government or just focus on economics. And they're strategically planned. If you think about, Unit 2, citizenship and civic participation, smack in November, that's when election day is. So you're going to want to have tangible, real information to talk about your students with. You're going to talk about who's running for office, what their parties are, who's voting, why it's important to vote. And then you're going to be able to look at those results and analyze, what is this going to change about our community? What is this person going to do for the country, for the state, whatever level of election is happening right around election day. So I think that that's a really good strategic plan to have. Same thing over in the second half of the year. Personal finance and economic responsibility. March is about the time where students are making these decisions about what they're doing with the rest of their lives in more of just a real sense instead of just applying and thinking about it. So to have them complete at the end of this a project, like a budget project basically, and it might be something that they actually use in their lives when they leave our classroom. Exactly what I want for the goal of this class. And, putting a unit such as civil rights and civil liberties right at the end is key because you're going to have all of that knowledge of both your historical knowledge from U.S. history's, version of civil rights and civil liberties, and then looking at it from the government aspect that we've been talking about throughout this whole year. So putting that at the end is also really important in terms of the final project that I have allotted time for them to complete. And the end of senior year, I'm sure everyone can remember, it just gets very hectic between graduation and yearbooks and plans and all this stuff. You don't want seniors to check out and not be able to graduate because they couldn't finish a project or something like that. So to have them complete their final project at the end of, in class at the end of the year is going to be really good for their time management and their dedication to the project. And so I want them to demonstrate to me in whatever format they are most comfortable with, how are they going to take this information and bring it into their lives daily? Are they going to watch their spending? Are they going to invest in something important that they need for their futures? How are they going to use their voice? Are they going to vote? Are they going to bring others to vote with them? So these are just some of the ideas, but I want them to use at least one economic-based concept and one civics-based concept to demonstrate to me that they really have learned things in this class that they can take away with them. And so that will be one of the main determinations of the evaluation of the course, whether or not it was successful in my own terms. I'll have them do similar to how we do course evaluations for our classes, just an anonymous feedback that will help me improve on the class and the structure and the lessons that I use, as well as observations and constructive criticism from colleagues, whether they pop into the classroom to see what's happening or, just looking at lessons and helping with any advice that they might have. In terms of general evaluation at the end of units, it's going to be more project-based simulations and a general demonstration of knowledge in different formats, because that's what students are going to do in the real life is express, a variety of formats and a variety of different solutions to problems in whatever they may encounter. And so that's really what my hope for this class is that students will take what they've learned and be better off in their futures and be successful and use their voice to make an impact in the world. And hopefully we see, some positive influence. from these kids as leaders of the next and future generations.